Argory was built between 1820 and 1824 by a man called Walter McGill, who was actually a local man and came from Drumsill House, which is just about 7 miles down the river towards the city of Armagh. Walter then took on the surname Bond in around 1826 after his maternal grandmother, and from that point forwards the family were then known as the McGill Bond family. Mr Bond was the fourth generation and the last generation to live here at the Argory, and during his time here he collected quite an extensive collection of contemporary modern Irish art that was housed here at the Argory, though not displayed in the main section of the house. Well, in 1906, the second owner, Captain Shelton, he actually converted the house into an acetylene gas. So the whole house was lit by acetylene gas, which the family continued to light right up until the National Trust came. For the last couple of years now, we've been going through quite an extensive process of conserving and restoring all of the light fittings throughout the house, and this is now one of the biggest and one of the last pieces that we'll do. What we've done now is we have removed the original gasolier from the hallway, and we have now hung a new gas light fitting with neon. Kevin was known to our conservator Claire from other pieces that he had done at the F.E. McWilliam Gallery.
They were very precious about not sacrificing the artist's artistic process. They wanted to have a visual artist coming in and doing a bit of research. And
he came along and he spent some time in the house and presented us with a few different ideas, but we all liked the spiral. It seemed the natural fit for the space that we're in. And as you go around the house, you'll see that that spiral image is actually present throughout a lot of the architraves and along the staircase.
The house is used primarily nowadays for education purposes and tours, and I was interested in how the public and people navigate that space.
He actually attached a light to myself and he took a tour with me, and whilst we did that he mapped the movement of the light.
And then I used long exposure photography to trace those movement, those patterns. And there's kind of a play with me walking behind him, moving behind him, so it was almost like a dance as such. I would gently walk around the house.
And he used that mapping then to bend and create the glass that you'll see on the sculpture.
So they are part of the piece. I like that idea. Years ago I used to kind of hand trace these drawings out onto heat-resistant cloth, but over the years I've developed techniques that I can now computer model these kind of drawings, and then I kind of use these as traces, and that gives me much more clear kind of definition of where I want to go. And I translate from these drawings into a three-dimensional sculpture, a three-dimensional neon glass. It's a beautiful form to work with. Glass comes in straight lengths from Italy and Germany and stuff like that. We buy it in, and then we kind of have these fires. This is a cannon fire for doing really tight bends. And this is a ribbon burner, does big, long, sweeping bends. So between these two tools, I'm fit to manipulate the glass into the shape I want. These old houses, nobody lives in them anymore, you know, so I like the idea that I wanted to put my breath into the neon sculpture too, and then this piece will have a kind of breathing element. The lights will come off and on as if they're breathing.
Just for us to have a scaffolding brought into the room, we had to remove, I think, around 33 different etchings from the walls. We had to cover the banister, we had to build an actual box around that to protect it, as well as the floors, the doors, and some of the other larger pieces of artwork that we couldn't remove. So it was quite extensive and took us 3 or 4 days really to pull that off and bring it together. Rupert Harris, our conservation advisor for the National Trust, came over and we actually built a scaffold the full height of the hallway, and he, along with his assistant Jackie, then removed the original fitting for it to go to London for conservation work. Once it got to the roof, they then made adaptations, and Kevin hung his frame and then began attaching his glass, and they then took the scaffolding down around it. So the whole process happened from a Monday to a Friday, so it was actually very, very quick. There was no hanging around. Oh, I love it. It's amazing. It kind of brings a bit of life back into the house, and I hope honours the last owner, the man that actually gave the Argory to the National Trust. His housekeeper that worked here during his time, and I was actually a very close friend of his, and still works for us here at the Argory. She visited last week, and actually she herself believes it's something that Mr. Bond would really have liked, and that for us is a huge compliment, and that's the best that we can really hope for.